Some of the major store security alarms are going off as retailers are taking a huge hit from retail theft. Target is just the latest chain to announce it is closing 9 stores in major cities here in the U.S. due to the volume of thefts. Higher-end stores like Nordstrom, Whole Foods, they're running away from San Francisco. And Dick's Sporting Goods, TJ Maxx, and Five Below, they all revealed last month that the retail thefts are damaging their profits this year. To get a sense of just how widespread this problem is, what we're seeing in our region, I'm joined now by the Ohio Retail Merchants Director of Legislative and Corporate Affairs, Alex Burnka. Thank you so much for joining me, Alex.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, what are some of the latest statistics regarding shoplifting, retail thefts across the country and in this region?
Well, I think it's important to note that when we talk about retail theft, organized retail crime, we're not talking about petty shoplifting. That's part of the overall shrink issue, as we call it, and shrink, of course, incorporates many types of loss. But the real problem, and some of the examples that you referenced in the concern for our industry, is around organized retail crime. And that involves large-scale targeted thefts using methods of coordination, planned attacks on retailers that span municipalities, counties, state, even national boundaries.
When you see the larger chains like Target announcing it's closing 9 stores in major cities across the U.S., they're citing large-scale thefts. What does some of the other, industry leaders like Dollar General, TJ Maxx, Five Below, what does this signal to you in terms of the laws we have on the books and the possible protections for businesses?
It's a great question. There isn't, an all-encompassing solution. I think it involves several different approaches. We as retailers understand we have the responsibility to try to address the issue. The safety of our associates and that of our customers is paramount. There's no product that's worth someone's life. So we're always going to make sure that we're doing everything we can to keep our stores safe. Unfortunately, the trends are such that we've seen the rates of violence and theft increase in our stores. So we know it's incumbent upon us to work with local law enforcement. It's incumbent upon us to make sure retailers are communicating with each other so they can identify these theft rings as they operate across the jurisdiction. But also involves updating our laws on the books, making sure that there are consequences for the true ringleaders of these large theft rings. So it's a multifaceted approach. And we're at the table, we're ready and willing to be a part of the solution.
Do you get the sense that some of these business owners in the state of Ohio have reached a point where they're beyond frustrated and they want to see some kind of change? What do you hear? What do they want you to lobby for?
Yeah, I think there's certainly frustration. There's frustration for retailers large and small. And again, it gets back to there's no one quick fix. It involves passing legislation, which our organization is working on right now. It involves some policy changes, involves better communication between our loss prevention executives and law enforcement. So there's needs to be multiple approaches to remedy the issue.
Okay. Now, I guess moving forward, a lot of folks are going to be looking at, okay, how do these industries manage the losses that they're posting in terms of the major retail theft? Do you think that there's anything else that can be done at a national level to change this trend? What do you hope happens?
Yeah, certainly it involves some policy changes at the federal level, at the state level, even locally. One area that we've seen success in which we're going to be pursuing here in Ohio is establishing a task force, a statewide task force to provide resources to local law enforcement, county prosecutors. We know that law enforcement, they're being pulled in a lot of different directions. So to the extent that we can provide funding, time, energy to help put together successful prosecutions and send a signal to the organized retail theft rings that we aren't going to tolerate this, we are going to take action, and there are going to be consequences for committing these crimes.
All right, really appreciate you coming here on 21 News at 5, representing the businesses in Ohio that are seeing this huge problem in their stores. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.